Heyo, Hudson here with Planet 4 Gaming. I am flying the XP-50. This plane was requested about 2 months ago by Fougeri Prod, I think. I'm assuming he's a French fern, so thank you for that request. Very good suggestion. And if you want to request anything else just like him, just leave a comment below and I'll probably get to it eventually. Anyway, the XP-50, how is it? It's pretty good. A lot of the issues I talked about in the last video with the F6F are not issues with this plane. For example, it has a very good climb rate for a US plane, much better than average, and good acceleration, probably due to being a twin-engine design, more power and whatnot. And it has good high-altitude performance, which is not a common occurrence in lower battle rating US planes, with the exception of the P-47 and the P-38s, which basically suck, so no one cares about those. Speed and acceleration are decent. Everything else, like turn time and roll rate, are average or maybe slightly above average. Nothing to blow your mind, but good enough to do the job. The issues with this plane include locking up at high speed, so if you're in a dive like 700 kilometers per hour or so, you might want to pull up a bit earlier than you would with normal planes. Well, a bit earlier than you're used to, because this plane will lock up pretty bad and you'll crash into the ocean, as I've done many times, trying to dive on slow-moving Japanese planes that turn very well. The biggest issue, though, involves the guns. It has two 20mm cannons and two 50 cals. The 20 mils only have 60 rounds per gun, and they go pretty quick, so you gotta check your aim and kind of conserve ammo more than you're used to, because that's basically a Yak 15 ammo count. They do quite a bit of damage when they hit, but they are hard to aim. They're all centered right in the nose, very close to each other, so when the rounds go out, it's the same story. They're all going to be very close to each other, so if you miss the enemy plane by even a little bit, you're not going to hit anything. Well, that was poorly worded. Obviously, if you missed, you're not going to hit anything, but if your aim is slightly off, whereas with other planes, having your aim slightly off, you might still get a few hits because the rounds disperse as they move. With this, that's not the case. The rounds stay very tight spread, so you don't get the shotgun effect where, as the rounds go out further, they have a higher tendency to at least hit something. So your aim has to be very precise in this plane. And that's really all you need to know going in. I pretty much covered all the bases here, so we are going to get into a full game right now. Okay, this one is on Berlin, and this is the first game I ever played in this game, so what you're seeing here is my very first impressions of the XP-50. I have no idea what it's like, and we're going to find out right now. F4U going into a climb very, very slow. I got an easy shot here. Use a few more rounds than I need to, but I'm still learning the plane, so whatever. And it's a clean kill. He must not have been AFK. I just don't know what he was doing. Not evading, that's for sure. Two 109s below, fairly low energy level, so I'm gonna keep my altitude for a tiny bit and then dive in on this F model that's trying to chase down a 129, lead him perfectly, and take his wing off. See, as you can see there, when you do get hits with those cannons and you have the lead time just right, they are very likely to remove a wing or other important component, because the spread of the rounds is so small that they're going to hit the same area multiple times and do a lot of damage to that one area. That is a big advantage of this plane if you can aim well, and that is an important caveat. So another F model going into a climb. This one's an F4. He does a full loop, and I am going to follow him in a horizontal turn instead of vertical so I can keep my energy. And he's trying to regain it in a dive right now, so I'm going to follow through. And I'm right on his 6, right where I want to be. He's evading hard to the right again. And that'll be a new shot for me set up right there. Hit his wingtip just a tiny bit. Don't do serious damage, but as he tries to evade, he crashes into a house down below, and that gives me the kill. I would, of course, normally consider it a kill for myself, even if I hadn't hit him, but in this case, Gaijin was very generous in giving me the kill because I happened to scratch his paint with my 50 cals, and that is good enough to be considered a killer by Gaijin. Okay, Corsair, obviously engaging. I'm going to turn with him. Corsair's not so good of a turn fighter. This plane isn't either, so it should be a pretty even match here. Maybe the XP-50 having the slight advantage. So as he goes into a dive, I'm just going to follow him through. Got a friendly in the area. Diving in, and as he goes vertical, he gives me another easy shot. And that does it. That was another good example. Head on with a 0, by the way. Don't do much damage. Another good example of the shots landing all in basically the same area. I pulled a good lead, and all of the rounds went into his mid to upper fuselage, started a fire, and that killed him. So, with other planes, they'd be landing a bit more wildly, because many of them are wing-mounted guns or whatever. So, after evading the 0, he's very far away, so I'm going to chase him down. This plane has no problems catching up to a 0, obviously. The Hellcat shouldn't, but the acceleration was so poor on it, it might be easy for a 0 to get away, or for a 0 to catch you when he's on your 6, because it's the better accelerating plane, even if it has a lower top speed. So he's pulling some weaving maneuvers. I'm going to try and line him up, but this is the hardest situation to aim in the XP-50. Oh no. I've been caught unawares by an enemy KI-100, and that is the end of me. R.I.P. Hudson. As I was saying, though, being right on an enemy's 6 who's evading and knows you're there is very difficult to line up a shot. That is one of the easiest ways to go through your cannon ammo without doing any damage in this plane. And it is very, very annoying. The best ways to get kills are on deflection shots and basically targets that don't know you're there. So if they're directly in front of you and maneuvering, they have a very good chance of either making you overshoot or making you run out of ammo before you can kill them. So, my team did okay. That Spitfire was kind of retarded, but this Corsair seems to know what he's doing. And he's going to end the game right now and give us the big W, so that'll be nice. This 0, on the other hand, does not seem to know what he's doing at all. Or he just gave up. I don't know why he didn't just J out when he was on the runway, but whatever. So that's the win for us. Gonna go to the win screen now. You can see my score at the moment anyway. So there was a guy on the other team, the guy that killed me also had 4 kills, but he did not give his team the win. Okay, the ticker's going down. I don't know why I didn't edit this, but apparently I'm retarded, so here we go. Okay, there's the win. I got all these awards. Here they come. Oh, look. I had a booster. Oh, only two awards. Wow. Barely got anything, but I got the P38L. Look at that. Top of the leaderboards. Not the highest score, though. A guy on the other team got that distinction for shooting ground targets. Good for him. Okay, let's go to the next game now. This is going to be a little bit more interesting. It's on Norway. So, at the start, I climbed really high, but no one was up there, so I descended a bit. I usually like to go to 6,000 meters on Norway, but the Germans didn't feel like doing that this time. So I saw this P-47 chasing an A-36, poor defenseless A-36, no less. So I decided to give him a hand. I arrived too late, though. A-36 is RIP, and now it's my job to avenge him. So I've got quite a bit of energy stored up. This plane can blow that pretty quick, though, so that is something to be aware of. P-47 wants to go for a head-on, but I'm like, fuck that shit, boy. Just climb again. Hopefully he would follow me and stall, and he did a little bit, but I kind of had way too much energy built up and climbed higher than I meant to. No matter, though, I'm just going to dive in on him again. This time he won't be able to invade because I'm directly behind him. And I'm closing pretty slowly, to be honest. The P-47 is very fast for its battle rating. But I'm getting there. He's trying to use the docks as cover and then just goes into the vertical for some reason. And easy kill. So with that done, I need to find some new targets. I was really far away from the rest of the battle, so I had to fly back over here towards the enemy airfield. I see this P-39 in trouble and figure that's who I should help out. 109E, P-47 head-on. Set him on fire, he's done. Now I'm going to try and go for that 109. Just gonna create a bit of distance before I do. I don't want to turn too quick and realize I'm in too much. I'm in over my head. So it looks clear. Turned around. 109 is still on that P-39, so he should make a pretty easy target. Closing fast. Just gotta line up my shot properly. He doesn't seem aware that I'm here. And pull a good amount of lead. Fire. Small hit. Didn't have the angle set right. I kind of missed him for a lot of that shot. Get another strike in on this HE-111. Kill his pilot and flatten his tires apparently. And the 109 crashed, I guess? I don't know what he did. But that's 4 kills now? Jeez. That went quick. JU-88 is also in the area. I'm going to go head on with him. And now I'm down to machine guns only, so that's pretty important. Always make sure you're not doing something too risky without cannons. So I'm just going to make sure I'm in front of him, then turn towards him, aim for the cockpit, and there goes the gunner. I guess I got the kill by killing his gunner. That's how it goes sometimes, I guess. Maybe he was already missing a pilot and the gunner switched to the pilot seat, who knows. So I didn't know where the 217 was. I knew the last guy was a 217, but I figured he flew back to base, but he flew back to the A runway for some reason. So I just missed him. Then my teammate who had no ammo spotted him, and I was able to fly back. So that's what was going on there. And still, obviously, down to only machine guns. Get a few small hits there. These guns are rather difficult to aim since there's so few of them. But I got a lot of speed built up. I'm just gonna climb. He's a very slow-moving plane, so as long as I play smart, he should not have a chance to shoot at me. Because this is a heavy fighter version of the 217, not a bomber version. So I got the angle a little bit weird, but I'm able to roll around and get the guns on target. Another small hit. Not able to do a lot of damage. I don't want to sit behind the gun either, the gunner, tail gunner, because it is only a 7.92, but it can do quite a bit of damage. I can see he's at a low energy state because of the vapor forming on his wings as he climbs. And he's taking some wild shots at me. He kind of knows he's fucked. Gunner's firing quite a bit. He's not hitting though. Gonna take some shots at long range. Doing some real damage now. He's leaking fuel. Lost the tail control. He's fucked. See ya, buddy. Put up a good fight, but not enough. There he goes. And that'll make my 6th kill that game. So that was an ace game +1. How about that? Not often I get that many kills. If you get good matchmaking in this plane, you can totally wreck. At higher levels, it's basically average. If you see 109 G2s, they're better than you. But, yeah, these lower battle rating games where you see the E models and BF 110s, it's pretty solid. Better than solid, actually. But not one of my favorite planes, but it was fun to learn. It was definitely a welcome change for the US tree, and just very interesting overall. Kind of ugly, too. I like that. So, top of the leaderboards, obviously, this time. Get a lot of RP towards the A26, which I'm still researching. God damn. But yeah, it is, if you do want to spend a few Golden Eagles on something, this isn't a bad choice. It's not the best, it's not OP or anything. It's not going to automatically give you wins and help you research everything. But it is a solid plane, very interesting and fun, and I would recommend it. The only issues are, like I said, related to the guns. I've had even worse games than that. Obviously, that DO-217 took longer than it should have to take out because I was down to only 250 cals, but I've had even worse, where I'm on the tail of an ME-109 for literally 5 minutes straight. Or maybe not 5 minutes straight, but here's how it worked. I was on the tail of a 109F for about 2 minutes, just picking away at him, trying to kill him with Chinese water torture. That's what those 250 cals are like. I was out of 20mm ammo. His buddy came in, and I'm like, oh shit, now I have to try and get away from these two. I went evasive, flew towards my teammates, they kind of distracted him for a bit. I got back on the tail of the original 109 and took about a minute and a half longer just to finish him off. I finally got some good shots in and took him out. That is a very, very big issue with this plane. And like I was saying earlier, if you're on the tail of an enemy fighter and he pulls some crazy evasive maneuvers, rolling scissors and stuff, it is very, very difficult to follow that in this plane. With a lot of other cannon-armed planes, I would usually try to approximate where they're going to move to next and just hold down the trigger for a bit. But you can't afford to do that in this plane because the ammo count is so goddamn low. You can't afford to just get kind of sloppy with your aiming. You really have to be on target about 90% of the time. Ideally 100%, but that's how it goes with anything. So yeah, that is an issue. It's still fun though. As you can see, I had a lot of fun with this Norway game, and it's very enjoyable overall. Just a few, well, relatively major issues, but it's easy to look past it when you're doing well in the plane. Anyway, this has been Hudson with P4G. Thank you for watching, and get the fuck out of here.